Hello, Shelley from Spin Cushions here, and another pattern from my Siren's Atlas collection. This one is called Ceram. I'm not sure if that's how you say the name of the sea properly, but that's how I'm saying it. It's quite an easy one, nothing too fancy or tricky about it at all. So let's get started. So as usual, begin with either chain 4 joined into a loop or a magic circle. Now we're going to chain 1. This chain 1 doesn't count in our stitch count, it's just to help us work because we're doing 8 double crochets UK or single crochets US, so it can be quite tricky to find where to work that first stitch without that chain 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm going to do this whole square in one colour. If you want to change colours at any round, I'll tell you at the end of each round if you need to do anything different. For this one, I'll just pull that magic circle tight and we join with a slip stitch to our first double crochet or single crochet. Now to make sure you get the right hole, it can be confusing, I count backwards. So that's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's where I'm joining up to. With a slip stitch. Okay, that's it. Round 1 done. Next round is an easy one. I'm going to chain 3 starting chain, or you can do a false stitch like I like to do. I have a YouTube video showing how to do that. Then we need to chain 1 and do a treble UK double US in the next stitch. We do that all the way around. 1 chain and a stitch. I'll come around and show you how to finish off. Right, I've done all of my repeats. All I need to do now is join up with a slip stitch to your starting chain or your false stitch. Whichever you have done. It's the same even if you're changing colours. Okay, the next round is a double crochet UK or single crochet US round. We're going to do a stitch in the same space we did our slip stitch. And then in the 1 chain space we're going to do 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then 1 stitch in the next stitch. So it's a stitch in every stitch and 2 stitches in every 1 chain space all the way around. I'll come back and show you how to join off. Okay, so that's all the way around. Just need to join with a slip stitch to our first stitch. Oops. There we go. Okay, now round 4 is pretty much the same as round 2. So chain 3 starting chain or false stitch, chain 1, treble UK double US in the next stitch, all the way around. So we'll just be doing more of the repeats than we did in round 2, but it's exactly the same. So I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I've worked my way all the way around. I just need to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch. Okay, the next round is a very easy one. We're going to do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in every stitch and 1 in every 1 chain space. Just 1 this time, not 2 like we did last time. So that is a very simple round. I'll come back and show you what we're going to do next. Right, so I've run all the way around. The last thing to do for this round is to join up with a slip stitch to your first stitch. Now that's our centre done, so now we're going to start doing these more interesting squaring off parts. So the first thing to do is chain 3 starting chain or false stitch. Then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches. 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3. No, sorry, chain 3. Sorry, we're chaining 3, skipping 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the next stitch, we're going to do a treble UK WS, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our corner. And then do a treble UK WS in the same space. So that's our repeat. Chain 3, skipping 4, 3 stitches, chain 3, skipping 4, and our corner is 1 stitch, chain 4, 1 stitch. So that is our repeat. I'll come back and show you how to join up. Okay, so I've done my repeats. The last thing we need to do is to finish off this round by doing a stitch in the same space as our first stitch, which is where we joined with the slip stitch there. A treble UK WS. Now, if you're changing colours, chain 4 and join up to your first stitch with a slip stitch. We're not changing colours. Now, this is my way of doing things so things can work a bit more seamlessly. I suggest you grab a scrap of yarn if you're not used to my method before. Poke it in that corner before we join it up. Right, so this is how we join up. We're going to chain 1 and then we're going to join with a treble UK WS to that first stitch. So I've done my yarn over. I'm inserting my hook into the stitch, pulling a loop to the front, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Okay, so I hope you can see that has placed us as if we were in the middle of a 4 chain space, ready to work our next round. We're going to work over this treble as if it is part of that 4 chain space. Okay. Rightio, so next round, round 7, chain 3 starting chain or a false stitch, and we're going to do 4 stitches, trebles UK, doubles US over that joining stitch, so in this hole where that stitch marker is. 1, 2, oops, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to skip 1 stitch, and in this 3 chain space we're going to do 2 double crochets UK, single crochets US. Then we're going to do a stitch in the next 3. 1, 2, 3. 2 stitches in the 3 chain space. We're going to skip that stitch, and in this 4 chain space our corner is 5 treble UK WS, chain 2, then 5 more stitches. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 2, and 5 more stitches in that same space. 1, 2, 3, goodness me, 4, 5. So that's our repeat this time. I'll come back when I've done all my repeats and show you how to finish off. Okay, so my repeats for round 7 are done. We just need to finish off our first stitch, first corner, by doing 5 stitches in the same space as our first stitch, which is pretty obvious. Even though we've got this stitch marker here, you can see that's where our first stitches are. It's not so obvious other times when you're using my method. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you're changing colours, chain 2 and join to your first stitch. We're not changing colours, so I'm going to move this stitch marker up here. I'm going to chain 1, and because our corner spaces are only 2 chain, this time we're going to join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US to our first stitch instead of a treble, because we only need a small space. sometimes those false stitches, there we go, get a bit distorted. Okay, so I'm joining with a double crochet UK, single crochet US. So it's the same principle as before, except this time we're now in the middle of a 2 chain space, and where that piece of scrap yarn is where we're going to work our stitches. That join, that stitch there, is like a pretend second chain. 1 chain, 2 chain, we're going to work over it in the next round. Okay, which is round 8, and it begins with a double crochet UK, single crochet US over the joining stitch. So where that piece of yarn is, poke your yarn in that hole and do your first stitch. Then we're going to do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, half treble in the next 2, or half double. 1, 2. Then we are going to do a treble UK, double US in the next 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A half treble in the next 2, or half double, and a double or single in the next 3. Our corner is a double crochet UK, single crochet US, chain 2 and another stitch. Okay, so that's our repeat. We're squaring off. Our little inset bits will be quite square at the end of this round. I'll come back and show you how to finish off. Okay, so we're nice and square now. We just have to finish off this round by doing a stitch in the same space as our first stitch, which is where that stitch marker is. If you're changing colours, chain 2, join with a slip stitch. If you're not changing colours, I do recommend you use a stitch marker for this one because it can be tricky to find. Chain 1 and join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US to the first stitch. Okay, now the next 2 rounds are identical. Well, it's just a few more stitches in the second time around. They're just double crochet rounds or single crochet rounds, US, sorry. So the first thing we do is a stitch over the joining stitch. So where that yarn is, do that, and then we'll do a stitch in the next 19 stitches. So this is our first one. Okay, that's the join into it, and we're going to go in there again. So 19 stitches all the way along the side, and then each corner is a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet UK, or single crochet US, 2 chain, a single crochet. I think you can manage that. I'm going to do that. I'll come back and show you how to finish off this round, and then I'll show you the last round, which is the same. Okay, so I've done all my repeats. We just need to finish off this round by doing a stitch in the same space as our first stitch, which is where this stitch marker is. Then if you're changing colours, chain 2, join with a slip stitch. If you're not, chain 1, I'll just move that stitch marker. And again, join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US. And the next round is exactly the same, except this time we're working 21 stitches along each side. I'll come back and show you when we're ready to finish off completely. Right, so I've just almost completed round 10. Been all the way around again. I'll just have to finish off by doing a stitch in the same space as our first stitch, which is where that stitch marker is. And because this is the last round, we're going to chain 2 and join with a slip stitch to our first stitch. That is that for Ceram. Just fasten off your yarn. Then you can weave in your ends, give it a bit of a block. Now I'll just, sometimes when you're using different yarns things can work out to be a slightly different size, but in this case I suppose if I blocked it it would be this one will be slightly bigger than this one. This is made with Bendigo Woolen Mills 8-ply cotton. This is made with Cascade Ultra Pima cotton. They are equivalent yarns, but sometimes you can get a different result. I think because we've got some small stitches at the end, it sort of pulls it in a bit tighter. So there you go. If you want to change the size of this one, if you want to make it a little bit bigger, add another round or block it out a little bit. If you want to make it smaller, leave off the last round or two. It's easy if you want to mix and match with other ones that are slightly different size. So there you go, that's the end of Ceram from Siren's Atlas. If you'd like more crochet fun, go and visit my blog, spincushions.com. Sign up for my newsletters while you're there, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks. Bye.